All right, so listening music was favorite pastime for many of us back in the day when we were young. So our youth period, yes, thankfully period and not a stage, right? Right? Hmm? don't make me say that again. I don't want to hear myself saying that again. Yeah, it's just thing is, it's like there are some music that, actually you should have been listening classic before listening to jazz. Because there are alternate paths. However, I'm not aware about. Thing is, how did that begin? So, we had this, not so respectable, probably dead to core, Job Mustafa, however, she was extremely hot. It's like she had that like curvy, like, oof, you have no idea. She was like this, extremely healthy, like natural, also organic, also like ISR approved. It's like, I'm not saying stuff. This butter, and then like butter was fitting on your in your hand, and like consider my hand size. It's like she was that perfect in terms of look. Yeah, I can say it's like I listen jazz, like perfect, bro. Yeah, and then it's like, however, she was a retard. However, she was, I think, daughter of Turkish nobility, and that man was commendable music teacher. Also, as far as I know, has some business regarding bureaucracy. However, it was back in the day defined as international. Today, it's defined as global. Global. However, yeah, it's like, however, yeah, it's like I so we saw her playing metal flutes back in the day, and then like many of this man child, that's how we were something like 8 or 12, somewhere between. We want to learn to play this instrument she's playing. It's like we didn't know back then. It's like she was very hot. We didn't have like this healthy reproductive system back in the day. It's like uh, our energy conversion energy conversion mechanism did not function proper because we were young. Yeah, so we couldn't develop healthy psyche, so we thought that, if we learn to play that instrument, we could get laid. Also, first was getting married, by the way, with our beautiful teacher. However, she was actually, as far as I know, not so beautiful in terms of like this behavior pattern. Don't let me say pattern again. However, she was, as I said, it's like, well, there are these like walking sticks, on this so-called runway. It's like, pod or whatever. You wouldn't bother with them. It's like you had to see my music teacher. However, my back in the day, yeah, and then as far as I remember, this requires confirmation. However, that's way too long ago. It's like way too past. She said that I could not play whatever she was playing. I was directed to guitar. And then uh, it's like, finance division said, "Fuck you, FAR. Your child is not retard. However, you are retard. Yes, and we're not giving you enough money to buy your child proper guitar. Also, we are. Whenever you hear his like music playing, we will make you like curse him." So it's like whatever. It's like, then probably it's like, FAR is being killed in some like first person shooter that I should not have any idea about, and I'm perfectly capable with that. My supposed cousin, yes, yeah, he was playing Quake 1, and I was sort of satisfied. It's like, however, I could not understand it back in the day. Now it's like, don't play Quake 1. There's the latest one was Quake 3 Arena, and then we don't play Quake 4 for some reason. I have no idea. Yeah, it's like that. So, it's like this, and then, all right, so I was listening. I wasn't listening, and then, around the age of 12 to 14, I began listening to alternative rock. Well, I could not handle classic rock because it was way too like US soil based. It was like terrible. Sorry, that's country music. You added distortion guitar. You called it like special. You called it rock. No, it was rhythm and blues. However, it's not like 80s or something or like 2000s or something. Yeah, uh, it was like original rhythm and blues from like 30s to 40s, carried to 70s. So well, we could not hear that because we were, as they get. I mean, like, please don't make me say "Killer" song again. I like that song, and like I can listen to that in very scarce. It's like one of my favorite songs. I have no idea why. Yeah. Well, yeah, and then well, I was like transported, so to speak, to Metallica. However, I was told to listen Ride Lightning. Well, I didn't like its album cover; it was too violent, so to speak, for my age. So I listened Saint Anger. What that did was, well, Saint Anger. If you listen to it attentively, it's perfectly saying that. All right, aggression kept in check. It's like that's the definition of Saint Anger. Yes, Lars, and I'm not saying is yeah, James. Well, also they were auditioning for Robert Trujillo. As far if I pronounced it right, his name right. Well, and then well, Kirk Hammett. I think yeah, Kirk Hammett was there. I watched its well, making of documentary. So well, it's like I could listen Saint Anger back in the day, and then well, I was 14 or something, as far as I remember. Then I was like I listened heavy metal. However, I wasn't allowed to listen like Ozzy Osbourne, yeah, to like violent. He just, as far as I know, he committed scandal on stage. Well, animal abuse, and then well, whatever, and then he was like confiscated. Hopefully, he's in prison and rotting. I don't care, please. Like, and yes, World of Warcraft had a commercial. It's like back in the day, if you paid, well, Blizzard needed like money for development, and then well, finance, whatever, whatever, whatever. Not my problem. Blizzard is alright in my opinion. Uh, yeah. So well, yeah, and then yeah.